Alright, so if you want to find the distance between 2 points, you have two options. You can use the distance formula or you can use the Pythagorean theorem. And I'm going to show you both. If we want to use the distance formula, then we're going to use this one right here. It's the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. So to get started, I want to label my points x1, y1, and x2, y2. And it doesn't matter which one I pick as the first ordered pair, and then which one I pick as the second ordered pair. It really doesn't matter. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to plug them in my formula. x2 is 7, minus x1 is negative 3, y2 is 2, minus y1 was 8. And from here you can use your calculator or your brain. Two negatives make a positive, so 7 plus 3 is 10. And then here 2 minus 8 is going to be negative 6. 10 squared is 100. Negative 6 squared is 36. And I'm not going to reduce this yet. I'm just going to leave it as the square root of 136. Alright, because it depends on what your answer is looking for. If it's looking for an exact answer, you would want to leave it in radical form. If it wants a decimal answer, you would want to put it in decimal form. So for right now, I'm just going to leave it as the square root of 136. Alright, let's talk about how to do the same problem with Pythagorean theorem. In order to do Pythagorean theorem, you have to have a right triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line straight down and straight over following the grid. And again, I'm looking for the distance between those 2 points. So what I'm solving for is this distance right here. Alright, and in Pythagorean theorem, you need to know the length of each of the legs. So I could go over here and I could count the grid spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I could count this way as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I would plug it into the Pythagorean theorem. Now technically we're supposed to plug it in like this. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. But after you do this for a long time, you know that if you're trying to find the distance, the hypotenuse, you just want to find c, not c squared. So the inverse or the opposite of squaring is to square root. The square and the square root would cancel. So usually once you get the hang of this, you'll go straight to this step where you say the square root of 6 squared plus 10 squared. And then again, you would just do a little bit of math. 6 squared is 36. 10 squared is 100, so this would be the square root of 136. So either way you do it, whether you use the distance formula or Pythagorean theorem, you're going to get the same distance. So you have two options, and you get to pick which way you like. Alright, let's do one more problem. This time we're going to find the area and perimeter of the rectangle. Alright, so let's start with area. The area formula is base times height. And we always have to be careful when we're dealing with a height. It has to be perpendicular to the base. So let's pick this as our base. It doesn't matter which side you pick as your base. The height has to be perpendicular to it. And we're lucky because this is a rectangle. So I know all of my corners are 90 degrees. So I know that that is perpendicular and that can be the height. Alright, so to find the area, I have to find the length, and I have to find the height, the length of the base and the length of the height, and then multiply them together. So again, you have two options. You can do Pythagorean theorem, or you can do the distance formula. I'm going to show you one of each. For the base, I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to draw my triangle straight down and straight over. Then I'm going to count the side lengths. This one's 3. This one's also 3. And so to plug it in using the Pythagorean theorem, I would do 3 squared plus 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, 9 plus 9 is 18, so I'm going to leave this as the square root of 18 for right now. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the height. I'll do the height in blue. Now I could draw my right triangle again and do Pythagorean theorem, but I want to show you both methods. So let's look at the distance formula. We would need to find each ordered pair. So this is located at -4, -1. And I'm going to go ahead and let that be my x1 and y1. This point right here is located at 1, 4. So I'm going to let that be my x2 and y2. And then I'm going to plug it into my distance formula. My distance formula says x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And I'm going to do a little bit of math here. 2 negatives make a positive. 1 plus 4 is 5. So this would be 5 squared. This one would also become 5 squared. So this is 25 plus 25, which for right now we're just going to leave as the square root of 50. We don't have to simplify it until we get our final answer. So we would go over here for area, and we would do the base times the height. And when we multiply those together, let's see, we would want to go ahead and give that in a simplified answer now, so I'm going to use my calculator. This is 30 units squared. Anytime you find area, you're finding it in units squared. So the area is 30 units squared. We still need to find the perimeter. So when you go to find perimeter, perimeter means add up all the sides. So my formula for perimeter, you would add all 4 sides together. So I'm just going to write perimeter is when you add up all the sides. Okay, so I know that this side is the square root of 18. And because it's a rectangle, I also know this side is the square root of 18. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down here. And then I also know that this one was the square root of 50. And again, since it's a rectangle, its opposite side is congruent. So I'm going to add those. So if I add all those together, let's see, square root of 18 plus another square root of 18 plus 2 square roots of 50. My exact answer was 16 square roots of 2. And then the decimal approximation of that is approximately 22.6. So either answer would be fine. It just depends on what your question is looking for. So that's how you would find the area and perimeter of a shape, either using Pythagorean theorem or using distance formula.